What's up, Flannelverse? Could not be more excited to be back. This is Christmas for all football fans. Although there is some weather concern, I think the game is going to play. I don't think we have to worry about the game not playing. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Hopefully, I'm not just being overly optimistic, but I am seeing some concerns about weather in Philadelphia. But I'm feeling good. I'm excited about this. And as Crutches just pointed out, if you've got Jadon Blue in your lineup, get him out because Jadon Blue inactive, kind of unexpected. They just said yesterday they were expecting him to play. Now he's not playing. So get Jadon Blue, rookie running back for the Cowboys, out of your lineup. Does change the slate quite a bit. Makes the other running backs in Dallas a little bit more interesting because now we have less to worry about there on the Cowboys. We're going to get into this. So here's how this is going to go. We're going to go through quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight end, defense, kickers. And then an hour into the stream I'm going to be joined by Brick75, one of the best DFS players of all time and one of the owners of Run the Sims and Endgame Syndicate. For those who don't know, Endgame Syndicate bought Run the Sims. This show is sponsored by Run the Sims. So we're going to actually on stream, I'm going to make my lineups right here with you. Timing's going to be close. It's going to be a crunch, but we're going to do our best to make some good lineups using Run the Sim. The final half hour of this stream should go basically right up until lock. But I do want to make a couple announcements. First of all, if you want to try out Run the Sims and play along with us later, first of all, I would get some lineups in right now. I've already done that. If you want to do it, you can use promo code Neil to get 10% off your first purchase at Run the Sims. Also wanted to let you know that there's going to be some Flannelverse hats. I just posted it on Twitter. If you would like a Flannelverse hat, I'm really excited about them. I think they're really cool. They've got the Flannelverse logo as a patch on the front of a hat. If you'd like one, all you need to do is use the Flannelverse avatar on FanDuel, DraftKings. Use the Flannelverse avatar. You can't use it on Underdog. You can qualify on Underdog without it. Just doesn't matter there. You don't need it there because you can't use it. If you win at least $1,000 in an NFL DFS tournament, shout out myself or Mathology, my host on the Tuesday shows, or the Flannelversity Twitter account. Shout us out on Twitter after your win with the screenshot of your win, and then send me your address. You do those steps, I will send you a Flannelverse hat. I don't have them yet. Otherwise, I'd be wearing it, showing you what it looks like. But I'm excited about them. I think I had another announcement, but no, that's it for now. We're gonna go with that. I'm gonna start the stream, start talking about the quarterbacks on this slate. We are going to need to refresh after the Jadon Blue news, so it's gonna be a little while until we get ownership, get the new run without Jadon Blue in it. But then once that happens, I will rerun things. Good to see you all here. A lot of familiar faces from last year who I've not seen in a year, as tends to happen with NFL DFS, but good to see many of you in here with me. All right, I'm going to get started though with the quarterbacks. Dak Prescott, I like him. He's so 42% flex ownership, 10% captain ownership. I think he's a pretty strong play. I don't know that I'm going to have a ton more than this. I think this is these are probably fair numbers for Dak Prescott. I might have more than 10% captain ownership. And this is Run the Sims, by the way. I'm just going to use the Run the Sims numbers because they have projected ownership. Of course, it is all going to change now with Jadon Blue. Actually, no, they already had him at 0% captain and flex ownership, or maybe they already reset this. I'm not sure. Either way, it's not there. I think I'm going to be probably about with the field on Dak Prescott in the flex. Honestly, maybe at captain also. I'm not seeing any big discrepancy there from what I think Dak Prescott should be. I will note, if I have Dak Prescott in my lineup, I'm going to have at least one pass catcher with him. If I have Dak Prescott at captain, I would like to have at least two pass catchers. Now I'm using a new product here. I'm not going to be able to force it in the same way. I don't know how exactly to do that. I'm using a Sims product, so I can trust the Sims to make the lineups the way they should look. But if you are hand building using an optimizer, I would require at least two pass catchers if I have Dak Prescott in the captain spot. The reason for that is in NFL DFS, typically, always on any passing play, the thrower of the ball is outscored by the catcher of the ball. So the quarterback typically is the one throwing the ball. They're going to be outscored by their pass catchers on every passing play. The receiver gets a point per reception. They get more points per yard. They get more points per touchdown. So the quarterback is outscored easily by their pass catchers. So the way for the quarterback to be the optimal captain on DraftKings is for them to spread the ball around and to throw, touchdowns to multiple different receivers, get a bunch of yardage to multiple different receivers. Because if they're throwing it too much to just one receiver, then that receiver, usually is going to outscore them. And the quarterback often is going to be one of the most expensive players on the slate. CeeDee Lamb is pretty significantly more expensive than Dak Prescott. So it could happen where CeeDee Lamb is, in the flex and Dak Prescott is in the captain spot due to the salaries being a pretty big discrepancy there. So that might work, just CeeDee Lamb in the flex. But I am going to require multiple pass catchers in the flex when I have Dak Prescott at captain for all of those reasons. And it obviously that does not apply to quarterbacks who run more. It's a rule for quarterbacks who are more just getting all their fantasy points through the air. So I will be requiring multiple pass catchers in the flex when I have Dak Prescott at captain. On the other side, we have Jalen Hurts is 11,000 projected for 75% ownership. 37% at captain, 38% in the flex. I would want to be well under this captain number. I think this is high. I think this is higher than other places have it. And I suspect that this 37% number is high. But if it's anything close to this, I would probably want to be underweight. Even if it's like 20%, I think I would probably be, I would probably in an optimizer set my cap at 20%. So it's probably about where I would get to. And I'll tell you now. So I did run just a set of lineups, and it's going to include Jadon Blue, I think. I'll show you what my lineups look like after my first run. So I just used the defaults, set it for a large field tournament, and I got to 86% Jalen Hurts. So this is a number that if I had time, I would bring this number down and try to get a little bit less. And this is using the Shady Portfolio Optimizer as well. Still got to 86%. So he's obviously a very good play if you're getting that number with even with the portfolio optimizer. I'm looking right now if I have any Jadon Blue in my lineups. Looks like I don't anyway. So that's not a huge concern. Flournoy was called up. He is going to be there today. So I do have a lot of Jalen Hurts. I will have a lot of Jalen Hurts. I don't know that I want more than the 75% he's projected for. And I think I'd rather have more of this in the flex rather than 37% in the captain spot. So I think I'll probably be around the field overall on Hurts, but I would be more spread out in the captain spot, have a little bit less, more spread out in the captain spot, have maybe more of my Jalen Hurts ownership in the flex, less of it in the captain spot. And Jalen Hurts, because he is a great rushing quarterback, can just score multiple brotherly shoves or tush pushes, whatever you want to call it. Totally willing to have Jalen Hurts in the captain spot without any pass catchers in the flex. I typically would prefer to have at least one pass catcher with Jalen Hurts. When I have Jalen Hurts in the captain spot, I'd rather have one pass catcher most of the time, but it would not be a rule that I would set. I would allow the optimizer to be a little bit different there. One other note on Jalen Hurts is I speculated a lot last year that I thought tush push is not illegal, Sean. That I thought rushing quarterbacks on showdown slates in the captain spot would often go underutilized when they have multiple pass catchers in the flex. That was something I just speculated on last year, didn't have the numbers. And Cody Main put out some research suggesting that is true for Jalen Hurts, at least, that the lineups that have multiple pass catchers in the flex with Jalen Hurts in the captain spot tend to be underutilized by the field. But he did find that those lineups that do have it, if you have like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, tend to be more duped. So even though the lineups are used less often overall, the ones that do have it tend to be overduped because they use up so much salary. So you might want to, if you're going to have multi-stack with Hurts in the captain spot, you might want to use a Jahan Dotson or a John Mechie or somebody else who is going to be lower owned, just something, or maybe a Dallas defense actually, so something to make it a little bit more unique, to pull that uniqueness lever if you want to avoid duplicates. I think that's it for quarterbacks. So I'm going to move on to running backs, continue on the show. Oh, good to see you, tattooed freak. All right. Running backs, we'll start. I'll scroll back up to the Cowboys, and we just got the news. No Jadon Blue. I'm gonna refresh this. I don't think I have anybody from Run the Sims in the chat right now to let me know, but I mean he already had the zeros, so I am just going to. So they may have already been making the assumption that Jadon Blue is going to be out, but I am just going to refresh here. Okay, Prime Dow Dallas. Here we go. Because it's gonna affect the ownership of the other players. And let me also just click the reset all button. Yeah, I'm concerned that these numbers might change a little bit more because we started the show not long after inactives. It takes some time for the guys to update everything to get new ownership projections. Actually, let me just check uh, on Roto Grinders real quick to see what it looked like. So we're on, this is FanDuel. We're focusing on DraftKings right now. Shoot, I was hoping to see what it looked like before, but let me double check this. Because pretty important when you're talking about it to know what the ownership is going to look like. It obviously changes things quite a bit. So they have Javonte Williams at 26% ownership in the flex. They have Miles Sanders at 15%. I think that's higher than it was earlier. And do they have Jadon Blue in here? Let me see that. Looks like they don't have Blue in there. So these numbers might be updated. If they are, then I'm going to be pretty interested. I think in honestly, both of them would be pretty intriguing. Now we're basically dealing with likely just two running backs on the Cowboys in Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders coming off of a shoulder injury. So we thought we were going to get Sanders and Blue back. Now Jadon Blue not playing. We just have two running backs that we're expecting to get a ton of the workload for the running backs. Those being, again, Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. Javonte Williams is listed as the RB1 on the depth chart. Miles Sanders, the RB2 there. And then, of course, you've got Hunter Lipke, who could mix in a little bit from the fullback spot. But I am expecting it to be Javonte Williams getting the first crack here. It is a really tough spot. The Eagles defense allowed the second fewest schedule adjusted fantasy points per game to the running back position over their final 4 games of last year, according to fantasy points data. So it's a tough spot. I'm not particularly enamored with Javonte Williams' talent, but I think he'll get the first crack here. He's only 5,400, and they've talked about wanting to use their running backs in the passing game. So I think that he could rack up could kind of PPR scam his way to a decent score. And he kind of did that last year. As Adam and I talked about this morning, he's always been a pretty good pass catching back. So even if we don't really believe in the talent as a runner, if he's out there, he's catching balls, and then he could have opportunities at the goal line and stuff. I think he's a pretty intriguing play. He's a player that I wanted to be underweight on, but I think that this Jadon Blue being out news just kind of changes things a little bit, enough for me to really want to play Javonte Williams, depending on the ownership. Now, if he is going to be 40% owned, 42% owned overall, I don't know that I'm going to get on top of that number. I think I would probably still be a little bit underweight here, but my expectation is that I'll probably have 30-some% Javonte Williams when all is said and done, and I will guess over 2% in the captain spot, because he is the starting running back for what should be a pretty good offense, even against a tough Philadelphia defense. I think the Cowboys are going to be a pretty good offense. They're below average offensive line in the rankings that I looked at. Both of them had them ranked like 18th to 20th overall as an offensive line. So not the best, but pretty good offense, strong enough situation for him. They've got CeeDee Lamb, they've got George Pickens, should be able to move the ball theoretically, or might be able to. So I do think that I would like Javonte Williams if he's going to be 25% owned overall. Like him a little bit less at 42%. I think I'm probably going to be between those numbers with how much I get to him, but I think I'd like more than 2% that he is getting here at captain. Miles Sanders, even more interesting to me because we're projecting him for significantly less ownership. And yeah, he's listed as the RB2 on the depth chart, but both were working in with the starters before Miles Sanders got hurt in August. And so if Javonte Williams struggles at all, I wouldn't be that surprised if they just start going more toward Miles Sanders. I think it'd be kind of a hot hand approach here. They talked about it throughout the offseason. Brian Schottenheimer talked about it like, do you want to have a running back by committee or do you want a bell cow? And he was like, I don't care. I just want whatever is going to work for us. We're going to figure that out. So I think that if it's not working for Javonte Williams and they give a chance, Miles Sanders a shot and he does well, they would just make the switch to Miles Sanders. So I think that Miles Sanders at $4,000, like that's not nothing. That is, as we talked about earlier, kind of similar to like kicker pricing. But it's also not like a huge number. If he does score a touchdown, catch a few balls, it's not that difficult for Miles Sanders to outscore the kicker. So with just two running backs here, I have a lot more interest in Miles Sanders than I did this morning. So yeah, this is a number that I would certainly get on top of. Let me just see what the number is here, if it's much different. So RG has it at 15% for Miles Sanders in the flex. Excuse me. and 1% in the captain spot. I think I'm going to be over 20% total ownership. I don't know that I still don't think that I love him in the captain spot. I think it's more that I like him better than this in the flex. I think I'll have 20 some percent in the flex, just because, yeah, I think it's a situation where there's somebody's got to get the ball. And I think that with just two of them there, pretty good chance, pretty good opportunity for some touches here. Now, obviously, if they get behind, they're just going to go to the passing game. That's kind of my expectation in general, is that Dallas is going to be much more of a passing offense this year than a running offense. But it's week one. We don't really know. People are making that assumption. Both these guys are pretty cheap. So I do think that I will have a fair amount of Miles Sanders, and likely over either of the projected numbers here I'm going to have. Other than those two, we do have Hunter Lipke, the fullback, could be involved a bit. Coaches seem to really like Hunter Lipke. All the coach speak on Lipke was really good throughout the offseason, projected for just 1% ownership and 0 in the captain spot. I wouldn't play Lipke in the captain spot myself, but I do imagine I will get 5% in the flex. And part of it is just his price tag. He's only 400. We don't have a ton of great cheap options on this slate, so he doesn't really need to do that much to be viable. Just needs to outscore the other cheap options, but also he's a fullback. They only have two other running backs active. Actually, I should double check the projections to see if they have like a Deuce Vaughn or somebody that I'm missing here. But with Jadon Blue out, I think it's a little bit more likely that Lipke could get some opportunities. Last year, he got 6.7% of the rushing attempts for the team inside the 5-yard line compared to 2.9% overall. So they were more likely to use him inside the 5-yard line from the goal line, which is kind of what you like to see from a fullback. You hope that he could get some of those opportunities. He did get some of them last year. He also, throughout the offseason, again, like I said, they're talking about him. They're saying he's a stud and that they are trying him out in a lot of different spots, including tight end. So maybe he has one more out this year that he didn't have last year. He often feels like a little bit of a trap on showdown slates, but he's not projecting for a ton of ownership. Let's see, Run the Sims has him at 0 ownership. I'm intrigued at 400. Lipke is a guy that I want to have in at least 5 to 10% of my lineups, probably even higher, maybe 10% ish is kind of the aim there, I think, for Lipke. On the Philadelphia side, we kind of know what we're doing. It's Saquon Barkley. It's just going to be Saquon Barkley. 33% projected flex ownership, 18% captain ownership. I'm fine with that. I think I still want to be above weight to those numbers. I think Saquon Barkley is just set up to smash here. Philadelphia, you look at offensive line rankings everywhere that I've looked, which is at least 3 different places. They all have them as the best offensive line in the NFL. So it's just great offensive line, talented running back. Maybe some concerns about the workload. He talked about it last year. The coaches were, Sirianni said that he had talked with Saquon Barkley about maybe lightening up his workload a little bit this year, but didn't really give any great quotes as far as yes, we are going to rest him. We're going to be using the backups more. They didn't say anything like that. It was just kind of like Saquon knows his body. We'll let him make the decision whether he wants to keep playing. If he wants to keep playing, we're going to let him keep playing. So I think it's still going to be, at least for week one, Saquon's going to be playing until the game is out of hand, going to get the majority of the work here. I think he's a fantastic play against Dallas defense that just traded away Micah Parsons, best offensive line in the NFL. This could be an absolute smash. Dallas' defense, I think, is still decent, but with kind of changing parts there, sometimes takes a little time for adjustments to the new personnel. So I think it's a really, really strong spot here for Saquon Barkley. I'll be above weight to the 51% he's projected for. I'll be above weight to 18% in the captain spot, or I should say I would like to be. We'll see if I can actually get it done before lock, but I would like to be above weight to 18% captain Saquon Barkley. And then you have behind him Will Shipley. I don't think I'm going to play any AJ Dillon. He's projected for 0 ownership. He's also $3,000. I don't expect him to be really involved. Will Shipley kind of established himself as the RB2 here, sat out 2 preseason games with the starters. Doesn't project extremely well, probably doesn't have a ton of standalone value. Again, he might, because we don't know for sure whether Saquon Barkley is going to get all the work or if they are going to, try to rest him a little bit after he had a billion carries last year in the regular season. Then they won the Super Bowl, so he played all throughout the playoffs. He got a lot of carries, got a lot of work last year. Maybe they do want to give him a little bit of rest if they can. But Will Shipley is kind of a nice option, somebody that I'm going to want to play because he has multiple paths to contingent upside. One of them, of course, being a Saquon Barkley injury, not especially likely. Didn't get hurt at all last year. Running backs probably get hurt a little bit less than most of us think they do, myself included. But he also has the out of just a complete blowout. This is an 8.5-point spread here. The game's in Philadelphia. The Eagles might just crush the Cowboys, and if they do, Will Shipley likely does work in the second half. So I'm going to be above weight to 4% ownership that we have here on Shipley. 7% is what RG has. Yeah, I think that he is a very strong player. Somebody said that RG updated their ownership, so I want to double check the Cowboys ownership here on the running backs. You can see that I'm out of practice here. I'm needing to drink my water. My voice is going to get sore. All right. Going to go to the flex. I think these are the numbers that I had seen, but let me click the reset. Okay, yeah, I think these are the same numbers that I had seen. So yeah, I Will Shipley, I think, is actually a really strong play today just because he has multiple paths to contingent upside. I also like the idea of playing Shipley and Barkley together. I think that is going to go underutilized by the field. I think that we could see Saquon Barkley just crush in the first half, 3/4 of the game, and then when in the fourth quarter, just see Shipley come in and smash. Oh yeah, we need to get rid of some of this spam in chat. That's when you know it's NFL season, when you start getting the spam telling you about illegal streams. All right, got rid of that. So yeah, I think Shipley is actually an awesome play. I also think that he is, like, again, when he comes in, he's going to be behind the best offensive line in the NFL. I think that he's actually a really good running back. I think that he has some pop. So yeah, I'm into Will Shipley. He could be a zero. He could get like zero work and we're going to regret it. But I think he's a talented running back, and I will be above weight to the field, and I will be playing him in some Saquon lineups. And again, I don't think I'm playing any AJ Dillon. Could come back to bite me. They talked about AJ Dillon like being looking good in the passing game at one point in the offseason. He's a big guy, could get goal line carries. He has not really done much for a few years now. That was kind of that. I think that was like July. The more positive quotes. More recently, we've seen Shipley get more steam. So if AJ Dillon kills me, he kills me. I think that is, you got to take a stand somewhere. I don't think I'm going to play AJ Dillon here. And I think that's it for the running backs. So we'll move on to the receivers. Oh, and there's another one. These bots. All right. If anybody with mod capabilities wants to keep an eye on that, would appreciate it. But I'll check also. All right, 1 second here on the receivers. So we will start at the top. Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, of course, is the starting place. 10,800 projected for 35% flex ownership, 12% captain ownership. Teams should be throwing a lot. So I said it earlier. I think that might be the one situation where maybe I'd be willing to play Dak at captain with just one pass catcher if it is CeeDee Lamb, just because he is so much more expensive than Dak that I could see that working out, where even if he outscores Dak, Dak could be the optimal captain. That would be if you're using almost all the salary. But I really don't hate that idea. But I think CD is a great play regardless. 35% projected flex ownership, 12% captain ownership. Last year, he was just significantly better in games with Dak Prescott than without. He averaged 19 fantasy points per game over the first 8 weeks with Dak Prescott, and then over the final half of the season, it was down to like 14 PPR fantasy points per game. He's just going to be a lot better with Dak Prescott. And now he's got Dak back. Now, of course, he has George Pickens there too, which does kind of cut both ways. He should, get a little bit less volume, you would think, with George Pickens there, but also he should be a little bit more efficient. So we'll kind of see how that works out. But overall, 47% ownership on CeeDee Lamb. My expectation would be that I'm going to be overweight to the 12% in the captain, underweight to 35% in the flex, just barely. I think I'm overall probably going to be a little bit overweight to CeeDee Lamb, but I think the majority of that is going to be in the captain spot. Yeah, honestly, I'll probably be right around the field in the flex, and then overweight in the captain spot is actually how I would like to be on CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens, it's a tough one because George Pickens, obviously in the best offensive environment he's had in his career, has the best quarterback he's played with in the best offense, projected for 35% flex ownership, 2% captain ownership. These numbers have come up from where they were earlier in the day. I was pretty excited about George Pickens earlier in the day. I still think this is fine. And I've talked to a lot of people who think this is a pretty terrible matchup for George Pickens. My friend Derek Brown wrote the primer for fantasy points, and he was noting that this is a particularly tough schematic matchup for George Pickens. I'm trying to find the notes here. I think he has a sort of tough individual matchup, but I think it's more of a they play a lot of single high defense, or we're expecting a lot of single high defense from the Eagles. And last year, George Pickens struggled against single high. Now, who knows if that is going to be the case this year in a new offense? Maybe he can, attack the scheme in a better way in this offense. So I'm not going to write off George Pickens. I'm not trying to be significantly underweight. Actually, this 2% captain ownership, I like quite a bit. If that's where he's going to be, like that, I would be overweight there. I anticipate I'll be underweight in the flex there, though. I will be prioritizing others around his salary. So I think overall, I probably end up slightly underweight on George Pickens due to, new team, concerns about the schematic matchup, etc. Dallas also, it's kind of an interesting, they got rid of James Bradbury and Darius Slay this offseason. So they are also adjusting to some new defensive pieces. Who knows? Maybe they struggle a little bit. He can just break one off. But at this price tag, he probably needs to have a couple splash plays to pay off. Ultimately, you have to make some concessions. I think I'm going to concede and be a little bit underweight on George Pickens. I would say Kevontae Turpin is the third most interesting for a couple reasons. And I said it on the show earlier. I think this could be like a Marvin Mims situation, potentially, where he's not going to run a full route tree. He's not going to be a 80% route participation type player. He's always going to be kind of limited in his route participation, but they're going to use him in gadgety ways where they're getting him the ball, short yardage, easy catches. So, getting it behind the line of scrimmage, passing it to him there, or, not far up the field, which makes it easier for him to rack up some PPR points. But he's also just the type of player who can just break one off. He can pay off his price tag with splash plays. That was always the case with Kevontae Turpin. And I often have felt like he's kind of a trap in DFS. But this year, what makes him particularly interesting is they've been giving him rushes out of the backfield. Now we have Jadon Blue out. So they only have the two running backs ahead of him, neither of which I think is extremely talented or exciting. So I think that if, the two Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders are struggling against this Eagles defense, I would not be surprised to see Dallas give Kevontae Turpin a few extra opportunities to try to just break one off, because the others less likely to do so. I think Kevontae Turpin, though, definitely has the ability to just break off a long run, even against a tough defense. So I think with that added out, he's very intriguing to me at 2,800 with the kind of Marvin Mims-esque profile, where it's just going to be a lot of gadgety stuff, potentially some rushes out of the backfield. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to ownership. And I think it's really tough to predict how owned Kevontae Turpin is going to be. Oh, and I should say the coach speak has been really positive. It's all been I think he's in for a fantastic year. He's dynamic. We're going to use him in a lot of different ways. We're going to get him the ball. It's been really positive. So there's a lot of reasons to be excited about Kevontae Turpin. But then I also don't want to get ahead of myself. If the field is going to be really overweight, I would actually want to take an underweight approach. Right now, it kind of seems like he's all over the place. 25% projected flex ownership here for Turpin, 21%. I think probably just playing him right around 25% is where I'd like to be. And then, because I think that's efficient-ish for his price tag is 2,500. And then just kind of, if the field plays a lot more, I'd be fine being underweight. If the field plays a lot less, I'd be happy to overweight. So I think I'm just kind of shooting for what I think would be efficient ownership on Kevontae Turpin, because any number you throw at me is not going to shock me. If he's in single-digit ownership, that wouldn't shock me. If he ends up being 40%, that'd kind of shock me a little bit. But I really don't know what to expect from the ownership on Kevontae Turpin. I think I honestly maybe a little bit light on 25%. I'm probably going to be lower 20s, and then just kind of see what happens from there. I came into this slate thinking I was going to be really excited about Kevontae Turpin as a contrarian play, but as sort of a chalkier piece, I'm a little bit less enthusiastic about it because I think the range of outcomes is really wide. It's obviously a tough matchup. So I think I end up, closer to 20% there overall. Jalen Tolbert to me is the one that is a little bit more interesting due to the ownership. So he's only a little bit more expensive than Kevontae Turpin. He's not going to get the same exciting gadgety stuff as Turpin, but they're going to use him as a classic receiver, maybe more than Kevontae Turpin. He will get some run as the wide receiver 3. He's only 3,400. You look at the unofficial depth chart that the Cowboys put out. They were actually both listed as the wide receiver 3. Tolbert listed on top of Turpin as the wide receiver 3, both in that same box. Wouldn't be that surprising, again, to see Tolbert just get a little bit more work than Turpin, at least as a classic receiver, get more targets. And he's only $600 more expensive, but getting significantly less ownership. So he would be a target for me in large field GPPs. I think Tolbert is one of my favorite large field GPP plays on the slate, despite all of the positives for Turpin. I think I'm more excited about Tolbert if the ownership does come in like it is here. Ryan Flournoy comes in. He's $200, projected for 7% flex ownership. I think he's a fine dart throw if you want to play somebody who is $200. If you have $200 left over, you want to take a dart on somebody or leave, $200 on the table and play Flournoy over a Hunter Lipke or something. I think that's fine. He could get a couple targets here. I'm not expecting much from Flournoy. I think he's the wide receiver 5 here, so would be surprised to see Flournoy get a ton, but he was called up from the practice squad. Again, if the game ends up being a blowout, he could be a guy that comes in an end of game blowout situation. Maybe he's in a couple packages throughout the game. So I think he's a fine play at 200. Not a huge priority though at 7% ownership. I think that's high enough that I'm not super excited about the play. All right, I'll check in with chat and then we'll get to the Philadelphia side. Make sure I'm not missing something. Yes, we are doing outside the box again this year. Yep, too bad Maffa went on IR. Agree with that. Appreciate you, Sean. Do you have any Grant Calcaterra? I don't think I'm going to be playing Grant Calcaterra. I think that there are enough other interesting pieces to me that I probably don't get there. Mark says all the optos are pushing Turpin. I mean, he's listed in the same box, the wide receiver 3 box, for what it's worth. Are you making any adjustments due to the rain? That's a good question. And it's always tough. The rain situation, I kind of hate it. It's one of my least favorite things is to know how to adjust to the rain, because it's kind of an advantage to the offense in general, because the offense knows where they're going, the defense doesn't. So then the defense more likely to slip up and break off some big plays for the offense. But I think generally it's going to be better for the running games than the passing games. I think. I don't think I'm going to make any big adjustments though. I don't think I'm making any big adjustments for the rain. Let me know, people, if you have thoughts on what we should be doing for the rain. Okay, Pete says he checked the forecast. $2 for Neil spelled wrong. I didn't even notice, Sean. So people spell my name wrong all the time. Appreciate you though. So I don't think I'm going to make any adjustments for the rain. I really struggle with how to approach it. It's again, I think it's an advantage to the offense because they know where they're going, but I don't know how to, like rain as opposed to like snow or freezing temperatures. I don't make adjustments, I think. Okay. On the Eagles side, obviously AJ Brown, 37% flex ownership, 11% captain ownership. I think those numbers are fine. I don't think I'm going to be too different from that. AJ Brown had a 30% target share last year. That's really high. If they do start passing the ball more, wheels up for AJ Brown potentially. The problem with the Eagles is they often will, if they get up a lot in the first half, they'll just stop throwing the ball. So like has happened many times in AJ Brown's career with the Eagles, where he just puts up a monster first half and then doesn't do anything in the second half. He obviously can still get there. He can score 2 touchdowns. He can put up 100 yards. He can have those monster games, but it is tough. He's 9,400. I have no issue with the 48% total ownership, but I don't think it's a number that I'm going out of my way to get on top of. I think it's kind of fair number. I do have a lot of interest in Devonta Smith. Kind of bummed to see that his ownership appears to have come up a little bit overall. I think it was like 25% in the flex early. Actually, I want to see if it's lower number anywhere else. Yes, they RG has him at 25%. Oh, sorry, wait, 26% flex ownership. I still like Devonta Smith at 37% total ownership, 4% captain ownership. I will be overweight on both of those numbers, the 33% and the 4%, particularly at captain. This is a strong individual matchup for Devonta Smith. Let's see, do I have the nope, I don't have that page open. Let's see. I'll go there here. Research wide receiver cornerback matchups. This is also one that Derek Brown noted as a strong schematic matchup for Devonta Smith. Expecting, interesting. I didn't think that we had any shadow situations. Apparently, Trevon Diggs is expected to shadow AJ Brown, which is not a terrible matchup for AJ Brown. But Devonta Smith has a above average matchup here with Deron Bland, strong schematic matchup. And he's just a guy who's capable of big plays, paying it off. He's a little bit cheaper than AJ Brown, a little bit lower ownership in a slightly better matchup. So I would like to be overweight to Devonta Smith. And then it's really dicey behind AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. Jahan Dotson, I mean, if he comes in at 1% ownership, then sure, I would want to be on top of that number. He can score a touchdown. He's only 3,200. He is probably the wide receiver 3 there. I think they kind of named him as the wide receiver 3 over the course of the summer. They said there's a battle for wide receivers 4 and 5, but named Jahan Dotson, said that he's having a great offseason. They all say that. They say that all the time. I don't know how much I buy it, but sure, at 1% ownership, I would love that. That would actually be a play that I'd be excited about. 7%, a little bit of a different thing. I think I'll be right around 7%. I think that's about where I'd like to be with Jahan Dotson. That's probably about his odds of scoring 10 fantasy points, 11 fantasy points, whatever you need at 3,200. It obviously depends on the game. I think Jahan Dotson, I like him enough to play 7%. That's about where I'd like to be. John Mechie, he is active, I'm fairly sure, right? He's 3,800, a little bit too expensive for a wide receiver 4. Hard to get excited about John Mechie. He is capable of putting up a big game. Is he? Oh, here he is. Projected for 4% ownership, 1 fantasy point. I guess could get in a end of game situation in a blowout. He's somebody I guess you mix in a little bit. I'm sure some of the pros will have shares of Jahan Dotson. John Mechie. You often see the pros do have some of these guys that are like, doesn't seem like a very good play, but then you just play him for the lower dupes, the lower ownership. No reason to be excited about John Mechie. I don't think he's a great play. He might be a player to mix in here and there, but he's also 3,800, so I don't even know if I probably won't play any John Mechie. All right, I think that's it for receivers. Move on to tight ends. And I'll check in with chat. How are we doing tonight? You guys excited? I'm excited. I cannot wait. And then we got, by the way, I will be doing the show tomorrow night. This show is going to be every Monday, Thursday, Sunday, but then also tomorrow we have a showdown slate in Brazil, right? That's the Brazil game. So I'll be doing the showdown slate tomorrow night as well. I won't be doing a day show for this tomorrow night. I'll just be doing the show prior to lock. But yeah, you can look forward to that one. Let me remind you, this is what I didn't say at the beginning. Please do like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I am trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. Would really appreciate your support as I'm trying to get there. And if you want to get alerts when I go live for all these shows, you can hit the little notification bell. Whack no LSD acid mushrooms. Sometimes, Martin, sometimes I don't know what you're talking about. But apologies that I don't have mushrooms. All right. Tight ends. Jake Ferguson didn't have a very good year last year. Averaged like 6 fantasy points per game over the back half of the season. The coach speak this year has been, I'd say, mostly positive. It's been like, we think that he's going to bounce back. I'm expecting him to be 2023 Jake Ferguson again. But it has been like tinged sometimes with like talking about all of the tight ends. And I kind of got the impression that if he doesn't return to form, the other tight ends might get opportunities there and he might actually lose the role. Like, it's not super bullish on Jake Ferguson after a pretty down year last year. And the coaches sort of acknowledged, like, they weren't saying making excuses for him. It was just like, I think it was a fluky year. I think he's going to bounce back this year. But I do kind of think he's on thin ice a little bit. We could see, some of the other tight ends here potentially bounce back this year. So I have a little bit of concern for Jake Ferguson if he doesn't perform early, but I am for this slate. He's only 5,200. I think he's a pretty strong play. I think that this is a spot where they should be throwing a lot. They want him to bounce back to 2023 form. 2,600, 26% projected flex ownership, not projected for any captain ownership. I like it. I think he's just objectively, he's not like a great value, but he's a fine value at 5,200 who's getting fine ownership. So I think probably I'm going to be around the field here. I might even have some shots on Ferguson at captain. I will say I think that he graded out the matchup with the Eagles. Yeah, last year was the second worst matchup against tight end. So I do want to note that it is a potentially tough matchup here for Ferguson against the Philadelphia defense. But I think the price is right there. They should have to throw it a lot. Maybe they concede Ferguson and try to cover Lamb and Pickens. So I actually think Ferguson is a pretty strong play. If you want to make a bet on Luke Schoonmaker, Brevin Spann-Ford, who's min priced, I think you're just kind of counting on a touchdown. I don't think either of them is going to run that many routes. I think my preference would be spend the 1,600 on Schoonmaker. I think he's more likely to be somewhat more involved than Spann-Ford. But Spann-Ford, if you have not much salary left over, you want to take a shot on Spann-Ford scoring a touchdown. It's just kind of maybe he'll score a touchdown, maybe that's enough, is the bet that you're making when you play Spann-Ford at virtually zero ownership. So I think both are just kind of dart throws for large field tournaments, not players I'm targeting at all. Dallas Goedert, really, really tough price tag on Goedert. He's 6,400, doesn't project particularly well. Not going to get a ton of ownership. I got nothing much to add here. I think Dallas Goedert is a meh kind of play. You can mix him in a little bit. Let's actually look at the last end of season. We'll look at last year's route participations. We'll go to weekly reports. This is the Fantasy Points data suite, by the way. If anybody is interested in this, you can get 15%. I'm gonna go route share. I'll go route share. 15% off using promo code flannel. I just talked to Scott to make sure that I was matching their highest discount there. So yeah, if you want access to anything at Fantasy Points, you can use promo code flannel to get 15% off. Okay, yeah, so Goddard was hurt at the end of the year, but was still up 70-ish% route participation over his final 4 games. You kind of expect him to stay around there. Actually, I'm going to look at Fantasy Points. That's the better. Because he's 6,400, which is sort of a tough price tag. PPR, yep, perfect. But when I want to include tight ends. Yeah, so Goddard he had a 27-point game early on in the season, had a 13-point game. Not many. I think the 27.1 is the only one that you would have to have at 6,400. All these others are maybe scored a touchdown. I don't know. I'm not super excited about Dallas Goedert. If he scores 27, you probably want him at captain. So 1% captain ownership seems fine. This is also just 1 year. I guess I could look at 2023. Yeah, he had he had one 26-point game here, but he actually had a few really good games. He had 19 fantasy points in week 7, 14 in week 16, 16 in week 17. He tends to do better with the starting receivers out, though, if they're missing one of A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith. I don't know. With both healthy, I think this is just too hefty of a price tag for me. 1% seems fine at captain, 22%. I think I end up probably a little bit light there on Goddard. Not like in any crazy kind of way. I think Calcaterra. Oh yeah, he was the other one I wanted to. The reason I was going to pull that up was I wanted to see. Did I close that page? Here we go. Calcaterra, 1 game of 4.1. That was 2023. I don't know that I want to play much Calcaterra here. All right, let me see what's going on here. I'm not sure what's going on, but Calcaterra he is not the type of player that I am excited about. He is you're counting on a touchdown. He's cheap enough that it's probably enough if he scores a touchdown to pay off. What is he, 2,000, 2,400 touchdown probably does it. But he's also probably less likely to score a touchdown than like a Jahan Dotson, some of the other players we talked about. So I'm not particularly excited about it, but 2% ownership. Another player, 1% RG has him at. Another player to mix in a little bit. But yeah, I would not say that I'm excited about Calcaterra. Don't have any like real reason to want to target him. All right. Anything else on tight ends? I think that's it as far as any interest I have in tight ends. So I'm going to move on to defenses and kickers. And there we have Brandon Aubrey projected for 22% ownership. I do not see the defense here. I'll have to ask Brian about that. Maybe you have to run the sim to be able to see it. I don't know, but I think we're expecting 15 to 20% ownership for all kickers and defenses. Oh, Jake Elliott, 27% projected ownership. I think it's probably fine to have. I usually just try to basically match the field. I'll say this with defenses on Showdown, I'm totally fine playing defense against the opposing quarterback, against opposing players in general, because of the way scoring works. It's just, quarterback throws a pick six. They only lose 1 fantasy point. The defense scores 8 fantasy points for pick six. And then the quarterback gets the ball right back. So they're not actually all that negatively correlated. Obviously, there are other ways for the defense to score that do hurt the quarterback, like if they shut out the opposing offense, like it can be negatively correlated. But there are ways for the defense to score points that don't like kill the quarterbacks, particularly when they are veteran quarterbacks like these that are not at risk at all of being benched mid-game unless the game is a blowout. So I will be playing my defenses with the opposing quarterbacks. Do not shy away from doing that. It's a way to avoid some duplication and ownership on your lineups. So yeah, that's one thing that I will be doing, not shying away from. Generally, you're going to find the kickers are lower owned than they should be. People don't get excited about playing kickers. I think it's just because they're not capable of scoring in most plays. They're only scoring on kicking plays, so you can't get excited about them the rest of the time. But I think they're fine plays. I'm probably shooting for around 15 to 25% ownership, probably closer to 15 to 20% ownership on the kickers, a little bit less on the defenses. I don't have any really strong takes there. Philadelphia defense maybe would be more of a priority for me, but they're also going to be more of a priority for the field. All right, I think it's time for me to take any questions you have. I'm going to start playing with my lineups. Brian's going to join me at some point here fairly soon after he gets his lineups in. This is going to be my first attempt to get lineups in before a slate. So I'm going to take off this overlay. I'm going to change the screen format a little bit so that it's a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm looking at. Which one do I want to use? All right, I'm going to use this one. And so now I will run these. So the way I'll show you how I think I want to use it, and then Brian can tell me if he would use it differently than how I am, because this is my first day trying to run the Sims. I want to be very clear about that. I think that it's a great product. I'm buying in. I agreed to partner with them because I believe in the team. I think it's some of the sharpest DFS players of all time. We got Brick75, Uticow, Nerdy Tenor, Adam, Ship My Money, running the show here. So I'm excited to partner with them, see what they do. And then of course you have Shady Advice partnering with them, and we can use the optimizer, the portfolio optimizer as well, which by the way, promo code Neil does work for that too, if you wanted to check that out. So that's why I'm partnering with them, but I don't have experience with the product. So I am learning how to use it as everybody else is, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see how we do with it. Let me ban these bots. There we go. All right, so this is how I am going to be using Run the Sims. Again, runthesims.com, I think /subscribe. So all you got to do, use promo code Neil to get 10% off your first payment. So I'm going to start after resetting everything. Actually, I'm going to refresh too. Just make sure it's all totally fresh. And I'm going to go to Dallas at Philadelphia. And I'm not going to change anything for my first round. I want to see what the lineups look like before I do anything. So I'm going to, actually, that's not true. I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to set it up the correct way. So settings, I'm going to do number of lineups, 20,000, size of contest field. I'm only playing large field contests. Number of simulations, I'm going to use the max, 10,000. I'm going to use top heavy because I'm playing, again, large field GPPs. Obviously, you can change this based on what you're playing. I'm going to use Shady Portfolio Diversifier, which you can do this up to 150. So it will, what this is going to do, for those of you who don't know how the Shady Portfolio Optimizer works, this is like kind of what sets Shady apart from other DFS players. And I know Brian and I have talked about him doing similar stuff in the past. It's a thing that a lot of pros are doing, and it's, they do it better than the rest of us. It's trying to make lineups that that you take the top EV lineups, so lineups that just are going to have really high expected value on their own, based on the number of, like, the projection, based on the simulations, and then the expected duplication of those lineups. And then it's going to rearrange them, or just choose the lineups that are not going to cannibalize each other, because you don't want to have too many lineups that are too similar to each other in your lineup portfolio. You want to be able to survive over time and have kind of a wide array of lineups. So I'm going to be using the Shady Portfolio lineup here, Shady Portfolio tool here, as I run these lineups, and it will naturally diversify my 150 set for me. It can only do up to 150 right now. They will be able to do up to 300 eventually for the that's for the Shady tool. But now I'm just going to click Sim Runner Pro, and now it's going to show me 10,000 lineups, and it's going to rank them for me based on their simulations. So they're doing both game level simulations. So they're simming out how it's going to go with the games, what's going to happen on each play. But then also they're going to sim the lineups against each other in the contest. So ultimately that is what we're doing here. And somebody who's better than me at talking about Run the Sims is here with me. Owner of Run the Sims, Brick75, DFS Pro, is joining me. Brick75, how you doing, Brian?
Good, buddy. I would have been here a few minutes earlier. My internet just went out.
Oh, are you dealing with storms too, or what?
No, I think there's just a problem in my area. It's been happening for like the last couple of days. It's like 5 minutes it'll go out. Right when I uploaded my lineups too, which
did you get them in?
Scary.
Yeah. Mark asks, are you using your own projections and ownership? No, I'm using the Run the Sim stuff. I will. So the way I do it, and I think Brian knows this about me. So I'm using their stuff as my baseline. Like I tend to use, like, I trust them. I think they do good work, and then I'll adjust some things that I'm like, I think I'd like it, this player a little bit better than they do, stuff like that. So I'll make some minor adjustments to what they're doing based on what I like. And then also just based on, like, I don't want to worry about my lineups being too similar to everybody else using the product, I think is a little bit of a factor for me also. So yeah, I think so. I'm starting here, and I was just telling them, Brian, I haven't done anything except for set up the settings how I like them, and what I'm going to do is just export these lineups, import them into DraftKings, take a look at what the ownerships look like in the first run, and then I'd adjust if there's anything that I want to adjust from there. Do you have a different approach here?
No, that's the same thing I do too. That's the way you should do it.
Yeah, run it, see how it looks, and then adjust as you want.
Yes, and you got to make sure your contest, your ownership is matching the contest you're entering to. So if you're going to enter some GPPs with like less opponents, you're going to want to change the ownership, because the ownership's more designed for large field stuff.
Right. Yeah. Luckily for me, I basically only play large field, and I have the Shady portfolio optimizer here. So you'll notice here, for anybody who's not familiar with it, these EV numbers are not in order. So if you did not use the Shady portfolio optimizer, it would give you in order of the EV of your lineups. They would just be ranked in order. But because I turned that on, it's adjusting a little bit, so I'm not getting lineups that are too similar to each other at the top. But Brian, I'm playing 197 lineups tonight, which is, I don't know how that happened exactly, but it happens to me all the time. I just kind of enter randomly. I had some tickets, so I'm playing 197 lineups tonight. And of course, only the first 150 are going to be shady portfolio optimized. But my assumption is that then the next 47 are just going to be the top EV after the portfolio optimizer.
Exactly.
Which those will be in the mini max. That's fine with me if they're too similar.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
or you could just repeat if you don't care if you put the same lineup into 2 GPPs.
Yeah, I do that sometimes too, but I prefer to be more spread out.
Probably makes more sense.
So you can see here, if you're looking at this, I made 20,000 lineups here. So it gave me 20,000 lineups, and a lot of them are plus EV, and then a lot of them are negative EV. But then to change it, before I export, I'm going to change this to 197 because that's the number of lineups that I'm going to be playing. And you can see here, it's just giving me 197 plus EV lineups in the Run the Sims tool. Now I'm going to download this CSV, and you guys won't see what I'm doing here. I'm only sharing my window, not my whole screen, but now I'm just going to be, that's a CSV file. I'm going to copy and paste that into my DraftKings file, and then I'll show you my approach from there. And Brian, my understanding at least is there's no way to actually see exposures currently in Run the Sims, the current iteration of Run the Sims. You can't see your exposures on site yet, but you can do it in DraftKings.
No, but we're going to add it shortly. We just had to make sure this was up and running to the, our specifications first.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some issues that we are going to address shortly. So and everything's going to get improved too. We're gonna add a whole bunch of new features and stuff. So stay with us. We'll get there.
And this is how I'm doing it right now. So I just uploaded my 197 lineups to DraftKings, and you can just go to the lineups page on DraftKings, go to view exposure. You have to select Showdown, this slate. So if this is how I am looking at my exposures currently, and you can see here I have 86% Jalen Hurts, 71% Saquon Barkley, 64% Dak Prescott. So I'm just looking at what I need to adjust here. I might want to adjust Hurts down slightly. I think I was pretty bullish on Saquon Barkley, so happy with 71%. That seems like a pretty good number. Bullish on Dak Prescott. I do have a lot of Javonte Williams here. This is probably more than I'm comfortable with. Maybe I'll bring down his market share a little bit and bring up Miles Sanders. I think might be how I change things there. I think I like Hunter Lipke a little bit. So I think that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to rearrange the Dallas market share a little bit in the backfield before I rerun. I do like Will Shipley quite a bit. Oh, I like Devonta Smith, another one. So I'm just trying to take note of things that I'm going to want to change when we go back into Run the Sims. 30% Turpin, that's probably fine. Not something that I need to go out of my way to adjust. 37% Jake Elliott. Are you getting to a ton of kickers also, Brian?
Let me look. I got I have to do the same thing you did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of Aubrey. 19% Elliott, 50% Aubrey.
Nice. Yeah, and that's like a lot of people who use Sims. That seems to be the case. I know like Larry Yodo used to always actually, I can't remember if he was the one who would complain about the kickers or he always had them, but I know like Ricky D, you often look through his lineups. He was always defenses kickers.
Defense kicker. Yep.
Seems like something a lot of pros do, so not that surprising. So Chuck asked the difference between Run the Sims and Stochastic Sims. To be honest, I don't have a ton of experience with Stochastic Sims. I never really used them that much. I worked there a little while they had them and still tended to use an optimizer at that time. So I do not have a great baseline for the Stochastic Sims. So I can't really give a great comparison there. These ones, I find this pretty easy to use as is. All right, but let's see. I'm going to change. So rushing market share, I'm going to change Miles Sanders up a little bit. This is interesting because you were only giving Javonte Williams 48% now. It's already getting that much. That surprises me a little bit. But I'm going to move Miles Sanders up to
So why don't you do, before you do this,
Yeah.
you go up, scroll up a little bit next to the normalize button. There's a smart adjust little tip. Click
Yeah.
that
Okay.
and then make your changes.
Okay. Maintain proportions between market. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. So then when I change you'll see that when I change this number, it's also going to change this number. I like that.
Got it.
Okay. Oh yeah, and that's why, because Javonte Williams still has a high touchdown market share. All right, so I'm going to move Miles Sanders up to. I'm just going to move up to 38%. See what that does.
Yeah,
And
I would just make all my changes and then normalize.
Okay. Lipke up to 6%.
Why don't you give him a little ownership too?
Okay.
What did I
Yeah,
do?
good call.
I did for him. I did. Oh no, yeah, I did just like less than 1%. So I didn't do much either. All
right, I'll give him 3% because I think I've heard other people talking about him a little bit. I think he's kind of intriguing. Maybe I want to get. I like Tolbert a little bit more, so maybe I'll give Tolbert more of the. I don't want to give him too much more than this though. I don't know that I really want to. And you're giving 5.5%, 8.6% to Turpin, so that makes sense why we're getting a lot of there. Maybe I'll move Tolbert up just slightly because I do like him better than the field, I think.
I also moved Pickens' captain ownership up.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's a good call.
Like 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah, let's try 5.
Down here, one thing I definitely thought was off is Granson's ownership. I would bring that down to like 1%. I don't know why it's at 17.
Oh, I didn't even notice
the last guy.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna move him down to.
And you could just keep making changes till you're done, and then normalize.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna bring up Devontae Smith's market share a little bit, up to like 25. So I want to get a little bit more Devontae Smith. I do like Shipley too, but I don't really want to bring down Saquon. Maybe I just move AJ Dillon because I don't think I want AJ Dillon. So I'm gonna, if I change Shipley to 5 and Dillon to 0, that'll be about. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna bring Saquon down just slightly. Okay, we're gonna try this.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna hit normalize. Nice. Okay, and now I'm going to run the sims again and see how things come out. And maybe should I change? Let's see, dude. Did I have enough of? No, I don't think I need to change the.
Before you click run, unless you did it already. Did you normalize?
I thought I did. Yeah, change the numbers.
For some reason, you're getting an error there.
I'm at 103%.
Yeah, for some reason that's not normalizing. So switch. Okay. That looks like a bug too.
I'm gonna bring down Jahan Dotson to 8%, and then I'll move somebody else down 1 more percent. I'll go Darius Cooper down to 0. Normalize. Okay.
Did that get there?
Yep, I got there.
Okay. I wanted to do one more thing before you ran it, but that's fine.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
It's okay. We got time, I think.
Yeah, we do have time. Yeah, I'll do this one and then we'll do one more after. And
go to settings and I just want to see what you had them on. So you had okay. Yeah. And then you had shadies. Okay. Never mind. That's fine.
Okay.
I didn't know what you had it set to. Yeah, top heavy, shadies is on, so you're good.
Did that stop the sims, or are they still running?
No, you're good. If you go to the Sim Runner Pro tab at the end, you'll see it should still be.
Oh, I see.
Running.
Okay.
And if you scroll down, it'll kind of tell you where we're at. Like
nice.
Field, and then it'll say sending port to the portfolio code for shady since you had that selected, and so you'll know it's working, and now it's doing payouts.
Let's see. Tommy I saw on your DraftKings the entry fees for Hurts was $220, but it was in. Is that right? I guess I would have guessed 88. No, I'm not playing a ton. I didn't want to put. I honestly have not been playing super high stakes the past couple of years, just because I'm playing so many slates. But then on top of that, as I'm learning a new product, I did not want to play more than my usual bankroll. So yeah, I'm only playing $350-$400 today. So yeah, I'm in 197 lineups, but that is a lot of them are mini max lineups. 150 of them, I guess. And then maybe another 20 that are just like $1. And then I have, I don't know how many, $15 entries. I was also thinking about hand building a couple, just for fun, as I sometimes do on these shows.
Zeus doesn't like the price of the shady sims, but we have a $25 level too that is got a lot of stuff. It's pretty good value. It has the optimizer, it has the projections, and you could sim up to 5 lineups for $25. So 300 isn't for everyone for sure. It's for guys who play a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're only gambling a couple $100 a month or something, you shouldn't be paying for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also like it's cheaper than like industry standard for play-by-play and contest sims. So not that.
Yeah, it's got everything in like the props too. If you bet props, there's a props tool.
So you can see here I've got the shady portfolio optimizer on. We're getting a bunch of positive EV lineups, but they're not in the order of the EV.
Yeah.
So
like for example, something there would be like a lineup that would be like your 600th or something might pop into your top 150.
Yep.
When otherwise it wouldn't have.
This lineup, this 27% probably wouldn't have made it into my top 197 if not for trying to diversify.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're not going to cannibalize as much.
Yep.
Of your EV.
So I'm going to download
promo
these.
Code is Neil Chase.
Yes, promo code Neil. You can get 10% off your first purchase on whatever thing you want to try at.
Yeah, and just so you know how that works, 10% off. So if you did the monthly, you'd get 10% off your first month. If you did the annual, you get 10% off the annual. So, and that renews. So if you did want to save the most, you do annual.
Nice. All right, wait, I got to go to DraftKings. And like Brian said, I think the product is perfectly usable now, but you're going to be making improvements to it.
We'll have the exposures tab. I mean, I knew it wasn't on there and it was upsetting, but we have to make sure like the nuts and bolts work and give you good lineups more than the exposures thing. Like it's on the golf app. It's just not yet on NFL, but we will.
Oh, it is on the golf app. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it's on the golf app.
So you're not that far off from having it, I would imagine.
And also like we're gonna save the builds will be added. You could do that on golf. You can't do it on NFL yet. So you'll be able to like save a build and leave the page and come back to the build, or rerun lineups without having to rerun the full sim, stuff like that.
Okay.
Those are on the docket.
Nice. This is promising. So the changes that I made, I got more, a little bit less of Javonte Williams than I had in the last run, which makes sense as I brought down his market share a little bit, brought up Devonta Smith. Now I was at like 24%. Now I'm up to 37%, got a lot more Jalen Tolbert. So maybe I over adjusted a little bit there, although I really like Jalen Tolbert as a low owned option. So this is like, it clearly like the changes that I made affected things the way I wanted them to, which is pretty promising to see, because this is actually the first time that I have been through multiple iterations of trying this. Miles Sanders at 14%.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do. So like, just so people know how it works really quick, Neil, there's basically 3 sims going on. There's the play-by-play sim where Neil was adjusting the market shares of the players he thought were going to do a little better than we had projected. Then they would score more or less in those sims. But then there's also the contest sim part that happens afterwards, which is what lineups you think your opponents are going to play. That's the ownership, where Neil changed those as well. So now you're competing against different lineups, all adjusted by you. And then the last piece is it sends all that data to Shady's code if you have that package. And he runs, his code on that. And does the portfolio magic. You could ask him directly, see what he tells you in our Discord if you want to ask him more questions on what's going on back there. But it's, his black box, his proprietary code, and then spits it back. And that's why you see changes. Every little change you make is going to be a change in your exposure.
Oh, by the way, this is also a cheat code to get into their Discord, like Endgame Syndicate. You had to sign up for this heavy monthly package to get access to these guys. Now you just buy the cheap option at Run the Sims, and you can get into the Run the Sims Discord and bother those guys there. Can you get into the shady portion of the Discord if you don't have the shady optimizer?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. For now.
All right. All right. So we saw how the exposure changed. So now I'm going to go back one more time. I know there's something that you wanted me to do differently here. I think I'm still going to adjust up Miles Sanders a little bit more than I already have. Maybe try to bring down Tolbert just a little bit. And then I also think I'm going to try to get a little bit more of Lipke and Shipley. So I think those are the biggest changes I'm going to make here.
Yeah, I wasn't going to really suggest a change because I just wanted to see the settings. We are on stream, but you could probably make a few more lineups. Why not? It'll take another 20 seconds, 40 seconds for every.
More than the 20,000 that I made.
More than the 20,000. Yeah, make 30,000. Why not?
Okay.
You got time. We got 20 minutes. Well, 18 minutes, but
I'm just going to run this one more time. Yeah.
And then make your changes to ownership or projection.
I assume this is also something that you are going
to. I think he accidentally disabled that. That would be on there as well. You can, if you go to the Sim Runner Pro tab at the end, this is what I suggest anyways, because I like running it as fast as I can. And you hit the advanced filters. It's got all those filter tabs anyway. So you can make stacks here. You could limit dupes. So you could see it must be less than these dupes, stuff like that.
Is this something you do before or after you run the Sims?
This one's you could do either. That's why
you can do it before. I wasn't sure if you could do it before. Okay.
Yeah, if you go back to that settings tab, but for some reason it's disabled, but it'll be available next.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You can do stacks at the bottom, and you can do salary ranges and ownership stuff.
Okay.
But either way, that slows the sim down. So I just run it as is and then filter afterwards because you're getting thousands and thousands of lineups. You could filter through them later on.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That's just how I do it, though. You can do it either way.
And I can see here the darkened boxes suggest that I've made changes. I assume that's what that means. Which some of them I made manually, and some of them when I normalized they changed, but they're not the initial. Which is
just a quick tip. So the little what is that, like an arrow circle to the right, reverse it. That will reverse all the changes you did for that player.
This one?
Not that.
Oh,
these don't do it unless you want to reverse.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
That's on the individual level. If you want to redo them all, you go up, and I think I saw you use this. If you go up and reset all, that'll get rid of all your changes.
Okay. Got it. And you can, and I don't think I'm going to do it here, but if you wanted to, you can also change the number of points you're expecting the team to score, the pace, the rush rate versus pass rate. Like if you wanted to make adjustments on all of these, that's something that I'll probably do on some future slates. I'm not going to do it on this one, but that's also pretty cool.
Yeah, right. Like that I was telling you in your chat earlier in the earlier show, that's like Showdown game script stuff. Like if it's snowing in Buffalo or something, and what happens if the snow's even worse than they think and the score is 7-3? We'll change the total to 9 and run it. And if the pace would change too, and then run it. And then if the score actually game turns out this way, what are the best lineups? What do they look like?
Yep.
And then I guess in that you'd want the rush rate doubled or something like that. You change the game script to fit whatever you want.
I don't want to move this down too. Maybe I'll keep it at 12. I guess I wouldn't mind if I get a ton of Tolbert, so I'm going to keep it there. Maybe I should move up his ownership to get a little bit less than the 30%. So move him up to 5. I'm going to move him up to 5%, see if that makes a difference. And then Shipley, I'm going to move up a little bit more. Market share of rushing, 13%. Smith, I might move up even a little bit more. All right, now I'm going to normalize and see if I have to adjust that again. All right, so this one, this is a little bit of a bug.
That looks like a bug for the receiving in the second team. And I'm talking to the coder right now. He goes, "No, it's working." I'm like, "No, it's not."
Not for me. Oh, but I can move down AJ Dillon again. Happy to move down AJ Dillon. And then this, I'll move down Calcaterra maybe. No, I'll move down Mechie. All right, now we're good. And now I am going to run it. I think I'm debating if I want to move up the rushing share on the Cowboys, because I think I'm generally like the rush rate to like 42%. Because I think generally I want more of Sanders and Lipke. Let's move this up to like 41%.
Mm-hmm. And to clarify that one too, that changes the share, not the total amount of plays in the game.
Right. The pace is staying the same. So it's going to bring down the number of passes. I mean, I've barely changed it, so it's really not going to do much.
Right. Yeah. Just so people know.
Yeah.
Okay. This is probably your last sim.
This is my last sim. So this is whatever I get here is what it's going to look like.
Do you ever get FOMO at this point? I think that's pretty common with DFS players, is like, ooh, I could run it one more time. Should I run it one? Which one's the lucky one? Which one's the lucky batch? I've literally missed getting lineups in because I had to do it just one more time. It was just less so recently because I've matured. I've gotten better. I don't do it as much. But yeah, no, I used to, it would happen all the time where I would just like, why didn't I just enter it the second to last one? You get greedy. Yeah. In chat, they're agreeing. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see Pete?
No, I haven't, because I was on the stream.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be on during the game.
I think he's doing both. I think this was a pre-game show, and tomorrow he's going to be working too.
So did you?
He did great, man. I was more nervous than he was. Like he wasn't nervous at all. It was crazy.
No, I wouldn't expect him to be. Pete's cool as a cucumber. That's awesome. So he was there with like Cam Newton and Derek Carr and
no, with Brandon Marshall, Honey Badger, and Derek Carr. Yeah.
Okay, and then it was Kay Adams was with Cam Newton in Brazil.
Oh, the only show I saw was Pete's. It was just those four.
Okay. Wait, but this game is in Philadelphia. This is not this. So tomorrow is the Brazil game. I thought he was doing the Brazil game. I don't know. Maybe it's two separate things. He's not on tomorrow though, is he? Do you know?
I think he is.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Pretty cool.
He is. And so now I told Neil to up the lineups because I know he had time, and we did increase the speed from where we started quite a bit with our changes, but we're going to try to get it a little bit faster. But it's like an optimizer that you're familiar with, Neil. The more constraints you add,
the
longer it's going to take, and sometimes you can even break it. If you put like 6 uniques or something and try to build 1,000 lineups in an optimizer, oftentimes, depending on the sport, that'll break it. And so since we've added the max amount of lineups, the highest pay, the most amount of sims, it'll take a little bit longer, but like the most it'll go is like 3-4 minutes or something like that. So like it should be done here like any second now. But just so people, speaking of getting in your lineups, if you have some last hunch and you want to get that lineup in and you really want to make the change, make sure you look at the time and adjust accordingly. So if you only have like 4 minutes, do less lineups to make sure you get lineups in.
All right. The top lineup here is Saquon at captain, Brandon Aubrey, Dak Prescott with Javonte Williams and Kevontae Turpin. So it's interesting. We've got Jalen Hurts, I guess, with just Saquon Barkley.
It seemed like to me it likes a lot of the 2-4s.
Okay. This one is predicted to be duped quite a bit.
2-4, 4-2, 1-5. Look at that 1-5 there. You're like 19th lineup or whatever. So 1-5.
Yeah, here we go. 1-5.
Yeah.
That's Dak with CeeDee Lamb and Pickens and Tolbert and Turpin. So a four-man stack with Dak in the captain spot, and then naked Hurts. That's interesting. And you can see the number of dupes here. You can't see it when I'm on the screen. Usually you have to scroll over, but there's a lot of information here for those who are interested. And by the way, Brian put out a video today that was helpful. I watched it earlier on the Run the Sims channel, not to be confused with the Run the Sims Live YouTube channel. Two different channels.
That was Pete's idea. That was Pete's idea.
It's probably a good idea, honestly, to separate your live stuff.
Yeah, Davis said that was the way to do it too. So I don't know. We don't know what we're doing with that YouTube algorithm stuff. So just listen to the experts, right?
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, so I'm, doing this, but like you did kind of the step-by-step. This is how you.
Dan's trolling us like he doesn't have any say in these decisions,
What's Dan trolling us about?
Not confusing at all. I think he's talking about maybe he wasn't trolling about the Run the Sims Live.
Yeah. He's probably trolling if I know Dan. All right.
Yeah, Reggie, good point. Do not dupe Neil, please.
Yeah, please do not dupe me. I don't have the shirt on, unfortunately. I don't own the please don't dupe me shirt, but I do believe strongly that you should not.
Do not dupe him.
All right. So now I go to exposure.
Are we live?
We're live in 7 minutes. So that was the final. And now I need to change this to just Showdown because I've got a bunch of best ball there. So I have 80% Jalen Hurts, 76% Saquon Barkley, 68% Dak Prescott. I still have 45% Javonte Williams, which I guess makes sense because I upped the rushing share slightly. 43% Brandon Aubrey, go Kickers, 31% Jake Elliott, 34% Kevontae Turpin, 29% CeeDee Lamb, 28% Jalen Tolbert, 27% George Pickens, 26% AJ Brown, 25%. Oh, I wish I had more Devontae Smith. I don't have time to do another, do I? That's all right. That's fine.
You do if you do 10,000 lineups, you could get one.
I might do it. I'm gonna try it here. Let's see if I can do it.
Let's go to inputs.
Devontae
Smith.
Yep, I'm gonna bump him up more.
Yeah, check him up like. What? No, I'm check him up more than that.
Okay. I mean, 28%. That's a lot. That's a lot.
And then, but you have to lower the other bros because that's busted right now. Remember? So you have to lower. Go down.
John Dotson, I think 2%. So I can 2%. Just lower. I'm going to just lower John Mechie. I just don't.
There you go.
There we go. And then should I change my settings to 10,000?
Settings. Do like 15 or something. Do that.
Okay.
You were doing 20 before, right?
And we'll see if we can get it in. Yeah.
It'll be close.
I think I did 30 last time. So
but the first ones you were doing were 20, I think, right?
Yeah. So yeah, this is a fun game. I mean, it's the thing. You get your lineups in. Now it's like I'm fine if the lineups are just what we were seeing there. Like if those are my final lineups, I'm cool with it. I'll have less Devontae Smith than I want. That's fine. That happens. But I mean,
if you don't get it in, just go live bet Devontae Smith props overs.
Yeah. True. But yeah, I want a little bit more here. Yeah, we did literally just talk about this, but I didn't risk because I actually got lineups in though. So like this is just I didn't get greedy. Getting greedy would be if I didn't put the last lineups in. If it's just like you know what, I think I can get this done. I've only got 2 minutes left. I'm gonna run one more to save myself that time. You get greedy and then you don't get your lineups in. This is like I've got lineups in. I'm fine. We're cool.
You're fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the clock? What's the clock ticking? We got 5 minutes. You're fine.
Yeah.
You should be fine.
Yep. And again, for anybody who didn't catch, all of the show, promo code Neil, you can get 10% off your first payment at Run the Sims, whatever product you want to try out. Check it out. I also announced at the beginning of the show, I have Flannelverse hats being made. I tweeted this out earlier. I think they're going to be really cool. They don't look as cool in the photo I have right now in the prototype, but I think the final hats are going to be really cool. If you would like a Flannelverse hat, all you have to do is use the Flannelverse logo avatar on, if you're on DraftKings or FanDuel. If you're on Underdog, you can't use it. They don't allow you to put up your avatar, so it's fine. Win at least $1,000 in an NFL DFS or Battle Royale contest. Tweet your lineup with the avatar at either myself or Mathology or Flannelversity on Twitter, and then send me your address and I will send you a Flannelverse hat. So if you're interested, I think they're going to be cool. Check it out.
3 minutes, 45 seconds.
All right. Plenty of time. Plenty of time.
You got it. Calculating payouts. Did it to go to Shady yet?
All right. We're going to Shady.
Or
is that a second?
Yeah,
is that
a Shady after this one, I think.
Okay.
He needs that info for sure.
Yeah. Come on. Shady, you got to be quick. Shady, promise me you'll be quick and get this back.
Well, this is good because I really want to start the trend of if things go bad, blame Shady.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be Shady's fault.
Or Dan, or anyone but me.
Yeah, I blame Adam personally.
That's fine.
It was his shitty projection that had to change. No, yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna be under the gun. It's gonna be close, but I think we can get there.
3 minutes. 3 minutes. You got your CSV open, right?
All right, Shady's being quick. Appreciate you. I do. Yeah, I've got the CSV open, ready to go.
Okay, and then it's going to you want 197 lineups.
Yep.
Get ready. Quick fingers. Type in 197. Export it.
By the way, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed.
This is intense.
Yeah, I'm going to give you this kind of intensity.
Oh, this is getting close. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. We're getting close. We're getting real close. Should have done 10,000 lineups.
Damn it. Yeah.
Should have done 10,000.
I mean, it's fine. We're cool. I've got good lineups in there. I'm satisfied with the lineup.
It is honestly taking longer than normal. I don't think it should take this long. I wonder if it got caught up or something.
Well, it's the first night of a bunch of people using it at once. So
I know, but it's been working fine till you needed it.
Yeah. Till
Neil needed 2 minutes. We're not making it. It's over. It's over.
I don't think this is happening.
Shut the stream down.
Yeah, this is. We don't want to see my failure here. So
no.
We knew it was.
You got to save this export because the winner is in one of the.
Yeah, then I'll tell people this should have been.
Yeah, because it hasn't even sent the Shady. We're fucked.
No.
It's over. Minute 50, no chance.
It's been calculating these payouts a while.
Yeah, no, it's hung up or something. Probably Adam went in the back end and shut the whole thing down.
Sabotaging me. He wanted all the Devontae Smith for himself.
Well, I guess at least we could see how much extra Devontae Smith you would have had. It was probably like 5 lineups.
I probably won't be able to because I'm not going to be able to get it in time
to
look at what it.
Okay, you got minute 25.
All right, as long as if Shady can get these back to me in about 5 to 10 seconds
at the right time, don't mess with the spammer. Leave him alone. Get these lineups in minute 14.
It hasn't even gone to Shady yet, has it?
This is Shady right here.
Oh, this is diversifying payouts to Shady.
Yeah.
All right.
It should be pretty.
But if it comes back to me, then it's going to be my fault that I don't get. Like if there's any time. All right, so I'm going to
197. No.
Oh, optimal results.
Go back to where it was.
Your custom lineup.
Go back to where it was. No. Last tab.
This tab?
Yeah, 197.
Oh shit! All right, yeah, this is my fault now. This is my fault. Damn it.
Download.
All right.
You got 40 seconds. You got time. You got 40 seconds. 38. You got 30 seconds.
Plenty of time. Where's the lineups? Upload lineups.
20 seconds.
But I need to go to edit entries. Shit. Boom.
Oh,
done.
Wow.
Success.
12 seconds left. You did it. Oh, man. Holy cow.
We did it. Devonta Smith. Wait, 25%. Did I not do it? Oh, I have. Wait. That's including best ball.
I mean, you only moved him up too. I was trying to get you to move him up more, but
yeah, you were. But that included. Oh, so now I would need to be in current lineups. So let me see if I can.
You probably have to refresh. Go to the.
Yeah. Can you? I actually don't know if you can see exposure after.
Yeah, probably, right?
So it's a live tab. I don't know if you can.
We should put that on the Draft Caddy too, where it'll put your exposures next to the player's name.
Oh yeah.
Click the view exposures up top left there.
Oh, you're right. I totally missed it. Okay. And so this must be just Showdown. Oh, yeah, I only have 20. I needed to move him up more. I didn't. I did all that. I did all that and did not get him.
Yeah, I think you only moved them up like 3%. Oh wait, no, those should be live too. Yeah.
Oh, 43%. 43%.
Yeah,
when I removed best ball. Okay.
There you go.
Beautiful. We got up to 43. It worked. I did it. I did it successfully. We got up there. All right. let's go watch some football. I know shady advice. He said it on Pete's video. He's itching to watch football this year and have more fun with watching football with his DFS. So thank you all very much for hanging out. Please do like the video, subscribe, all that. Enjoy some football and come back tomorrow to watch the stream for Friday Night Football. Thank you, Brian, for joining. Make sure you sign up for Run the Sims. We're going to get out of here. All right. Later, guys.